Welcome to the session, the Q&A session of the Possibility Coaching Training with Clinton Callahan. We invited you and you are here. Thank you that you followed our calling. And I think everyone know you. So I think we can skip the introduction.
This is good because in terms of knowing myself, I can count on you guys.
Okay, great. So I let Elizabeth in. She sneaked in.
All right.
Okay. So I will hand over to you, Clinton, and as it is an Q&A, we were gathering questions, and I won't read them here because these are your questions and you need to ask them. But it was the invitation that the questions are landing in this space so they can kind of ferment in the collective and you get inspired and you even have more dangerous questions or whatever is in the making on your path of becoming a possibility coach. So the doors are open and I'm hand it over to you, Clinton.
Thank you. I accept.
Great.
I'd like to begin by saying how glad I am that each of you has recognized the value provided by possibility coaching. And that I emphasize that from my own personal experience, having, for example, participated in the creation of this film called Leap, the coaching movie, where there were some 30 plus forms of coaching all came together to serve these 4 clients who were in the movie. And to discover, shockingly, you know, I'd never accepted the psychoanalytical or intellectual style of coaching. I never participated myself in a professional coaching training. And I'm so glad because we in possibility coaching started over from zero. I don't know if you know that, but we started from zero, from facing actual reality, people's needs, people's questions, people's pain, people's unconscious habits, people's conflicts, people, like all of this, we started without depending on the Freudian, Jungian, psychoanalytical context that so much of Western coaching is based on. And we started over in a completely different place, which was the context of possibility. And out of taking radical responsibility for creating, managing possibility for ourselves and for our clients, we developed an entirely new framework of coaching, which is possibility coaching. And to see our coaching at work in comparison to other forms of coaching, while we were creating the film project, it was a year or so film project where it turned out that the possibility coaching, like I was the only coach they asked to coach all 4 of the clients because they could see the astonishing effect of possibility coaching on the actual evolutionary change, the matrix building, the inner navigation skill, the clarity and possibility that came out through these rapid sessions, the rapid evolution of the sessions from us. So possibility coaching was the only coaching that they had talked to all 4 of the clients, most of which was not ever shown in the film. So the sessions that we did were out in the desert or after the camera was off and they had me do a session with somebody. So but everybody in the space knew the difference between possibility coaching and every other kind of coaching. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that you're taking a stand for delivering a kind of coaching that is inexplicable compared to most other kinds of coachings, and yet also inexplicably effective. It's so fast and so clean and so stable. The results of the coaching are just stable in people. They start a session here, they end up here, and they don't go back. There's no need to go back because they are a different person because they've been through the liquid state. Whereas no other coaching that we ran into has a liquid state. They don't allow liquid states. You're supposed to understand something in your mind in these other forms of coaching. And when you understand it in your mind, you go, aha, okay, I get it now. And then things are supposed to change. And we all know that people have a gremlin and underworld and shadow world, and they have hidden purposes, and they have hidden competing commitments, and they have mind machines and brain splits, and they have all these conditions that block actual evolutionary change. So I just, you're taking a stand for a radically new form of coaching in the world. And I hope that we can spread this around as fast and as widely as possible. I thank Christina Dershner for taking this stand as a space holder for the specialty of possibility coaching in the possibilitator training. That's fabulous doorway. She's holding open this doorway and formalizing it. And so I'm really happy to dive in today with you into any and all questions, personal, impersonal, transformational, transitional, transsexual, any kind of questions are allowed. The floor is open. Johanna, you're moving your lips, but you're not putting the words to it. Go ahead.
Okay. I think my question comes from my French box or being with more French boxes. So this is the context. What's the difference between the impulse of archetypal lineage and having a political point of view? In the French box, every act you're doing, it's political. And my question is not that clear, but I'm facing a client who she's trying to escape patriarchy, but with all this political of feminism or non-binary genders and all this new gender stuff, and this is one of her political positions. And at the same time, she cannot go into her connection to her being, and archetypal lineage doesn't work. And it's not it doesn't work, it's not the words, it's just I don't know how much it's her archetypal lineage who wants to move through that, moving out of patriarchy, and then she's using these political tools. But
Johanna, let me explain. Yes. You are hooked. Do you know the term hooked means?
Yes.
Okay, so she's got you. She's got you hooked into your mind, into a philosophical, conceptual, ideological, philosophical conversation. And
yes,
so you're
that's
hooked.
very French. Yeah, that's a French hook. Yes.
So as a possibility coach, you cannot afford to be hooked at all, ever. And so the way, so she's got your button, or she has this little question, and she thinks her question is important. It's just bullshit. And so I think you've somehow covered over your bullshit detector to maybe because of your own French box, maybe that is going on. But your job as a possibility coach is to hold a space that's unhookable. And because if you are hookable, if the space is hookable by her logical, linear, irrelevant question, the questions are irrelevant, then the space is not safe for her to go into a liquid state. And so what's your job as a coach is to pull the rug out from underneath any kind of a approach, an intellectual, conceptual, philosophical, politically correct questions, because they're just irrelevant in terms of your client's evolution, in terms of your client's ability to be more present, or to be more adult, for example, or to be in 5 bodies, or to internavigate, so that they can have access to their inner resources. So she's just trapped, she hooked you. So your job is to pull the rug out from underneath that approach. But that means pulling the rug out from your own self. Like I use the word bullshit detector. And so it's important to sense the purpose of your client's request or your client's questions. And so a question from a client who brings in political correctness or all those, the whole orientation of the mind's considerations, so pulling the rug out from under that starts with the purpose. You have to detect the purpose of her question. So she will ask this question, and see, the thing is, you were hooked because you took her question at face value. Like you granted authority to her question. So me as a possibility coach myself, I grant zero credibility to anybody's question. I do not grant their question any power. I look at their purpose. What would be, so you can tell a purpose of a question or tell a purpose of an action, because it's like a bow and an arrow. You know, when you're going to pull this bow and arrow, before you let go of the string, like the moment you let go of the string, where that arrow is going to land is already known. Already, that's the purpose of it. So when your client is formulating their question, you already know the purpose, where that thing is going. And if it's going up into the mind, if it's going into understanding, if it's going into like political correctness or any of this kind of stuff, it's a trap. The whole thing is pointless. And so your job is to immediately undermine that and give it zero credibility. You know, laugh at it if you have to, but go, God, the mind is such an amazing deception, isn't it? Thinking that would be of use for you to have an answer to your question. Is that what you really want? You're going to pay me 150 euros to get an answer to that question. That's what you really want here. Or do you want something to change? You know, those are the options that you offer. And if they want an answer to their question, go look it up in a book. You know, go online and Google it somewhere. I'm doing transformational coaching here, possibility coaching. We're not doing answers to philosophical, political questions. I am not playing a game with you. I refuse to play that game with you. So this is a kind of way to pull the rug out from underneath and give no validity or credibility to that kind of an approach. That would be, and that it would be useful for you, Johanna, to go through this emotional healing process of how you could possibly be hooked by something like this. Why would you give it validity? Why would you give it? So that would be worthwhile for you to do that. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I noticed it was bullshit, and I know it's my fear of saying it's bullshit. This is my emotional healing process.
Okay, clearly you guys should get together and just have this bullshit club sometime where you just, like, Devin knows what we're talking about. We've done it before, but you just, the joy, we did it in the lab. Didn't we do that in the lab here in Brazil?
That's bullshit.
Yay.
Okay,
Yes,
I
we
will
did.
contact you, Devin.
No, but I'm talking about all of you guys. You should all do that. Devin should hold space for a bullshit practice
Please.
class. But you guys just cut loose with some fucking bullshit.
Please.
That's bullshit. Just
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Devin.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Johanna. Somebody else.
I have a question
Can
about,
you hold on just 1 second? Can you just
Yes.
hold on 1 second? I mean, what I was trying to say before, or trying to is to promote your radical, it's a kind of arrogance. And it's an arrogance about not being hookable. It's an arrogance about not having to take their gremlin or their unconscious habit patterns as real. Like you don't, there's no If you do that, you're lost. You cannot hold the kind of space that has possibility and clarity that would be useful for the client. If you engage them at the level of the question that they're asking, the space is over. And so all I'm just saying is this, it takes a kind of practice, this bullshit detector, this crap detector, this kind of purpose detector. You have to really need to purpose sniffer. You have to use your purpose sniffer every single move they're making, you know, and they're talking about this and their little fingers are doing this and you're paying attention to the fingers and say, I want to know what your fingers are saying. You know, tell me what your fingers are saying, because that's true. This other stuff you're doing is just bullshit. Tell me what your fingers, why are your fingers going like that? So that's what I wanted to do, is to just emphasize this gap. You hold this gap between what they're presenting and what they think they're presenting. You know, they think they're presenting this thing and you're looking at it from a completely different perspective like that. Thank you, Habet, for waiting. Can you go ahead?
Yeah, it's kind of the same direction. For me, there's this question if a client has a real necessity. Sometimes they come with some kind of discomfort, which feels uncomfortable, and still there is no engagement of trying something else. And I'm sometimes I feel insecure of if the person is just stuck and in their issue, so to say, if it's communication or feeling, or is there no real necessity? Is it just
so Habet, you know they have necessity. You know their life sucks. Right? You just look at them and their life is shit. Their relationship is shit. They're working for some company thinking that money has value. They're not in ecstasy. You know they have necessity. So what I found is that a lot of times when a person is confused about their necessity or their presentation about what's really up for them, when that's confusing, or even if somebody will come and have a session with me and they'll go, you know, I don't know, hit me with something. And they really don't have some emotional reactivity going on at the moment. Those are sometimes the most profound and transformational sessions to have. And so it's fortunate when a person can come to you and they're confused about their necessity. And then you can do the real piece of surgery, whatever the thing is. And it doesn't come from my mind. You know, when I'm sure you know this, you sit across from somebody and they're confused about what's going on. And then you just go, okay, this is going to be a real one. And you just cut loose with something from left field, which is a baseball metaphor, which I try not to use baseball metaphors, but coming from something from the sky, from the tree in the woods, something from something that they're wearing, or, you know, ask them about how much money they have in the bank and how do they feel about it. Or when was the last time they had really good sex? Or when was the last time they went on top of a tall building and had a meal with somebody, or went up there to the top of a tall building where they have a restaurant at the top of the building, you know, and you can see the sunset and things. You go up there and you sit at somebody's table where they don't have a partner. You just sit down with somebody else. And when was the last time they did that? You know, do you sit on a stranger's table and have a sunset dinner with them, even though you didn't plan it like that? And then you don't know what's going to come out of your mouth, but you go for it. You find out what's this crucial aliveness that's missing out of this person's life, and you just push on it. You just push on that point. And you know, half the time it will work and half the time it won't work. But if it does not work, then you go to the next thing, and then you go to the next thing. And after 2 or 3 places where you push, it's an incredible, you'll find the real thing for them. And such gold will come out, and such pain, and such longing, and such, like, there's this great story I heard it from Eric Byrne, who is the founder of transactional analysis. And he was trying to describe how effective coaching really worked. And he said, most coaching works like this. You know, somebody is walking barefoot along the dirt road and they get a splinter in their toe. And so they don't even notice that it's not much of anything. It just hurts a little while, but then the thing gets infected. And so pretty soon it swells up, and then they start limping on their left foot, and this pain goes up the back of their leg. And pretty soon they're limping, and then their back goes out. And they can't walk straight because they're limping. And then they get a neck stress, and then they have a pain, and then their neck goes out. Then they get this fever from the infection. And so the fever comes over, and then their system starts to collapse. And they go into the hospital, which is like when they first go to a coach. And they say, I can't breathe. And they throw them on the table. And the doctor, the normal coach says, God, look, it's affecting the whole system. Oh my God, we're gonna have to cut the leg off. We're gonna have to do this open heart surgery, bring in the antibiotics, and this is the ordinary kind of approach. But for possibility coaching, what happens is the person comes in, they're all cramped up, they're all bent over, they have pain, their head, their fever and all. And you, the possibility coach, you come up and you kick them in the leg. They go, ow. And then that wasn't good enough. And you punch them in the stomach. And they go, no, that wasn't it. And then you step on their toe, the one that has a splinter in it. They go, ah. And you go, that's it. And then you grab their toe and you go, this is what it is. You have a splinter and you cut it open, go, all this pus and slime and everything comes out of the toe. And you go, okay, you're out of here. They go, what? It was affecting my whole system. Fuck you. No, it's a fucking splinter. God, we handled this splinter. You'll be ready in a couple hours. The fever goes away. They drink some water. Their neck goes back all by itself, and everything's back in shape. It's because of the splinter. So this is what you got to do. You got to walk up to people and punch them here and there, a couple places, grab them around the neck, slap their face, squeeze their, you do this. And it doesn't take long at all before you know exactly what's going on for them. And then you just handle that thing, that splinter. And it's so effective to use the idea of this, that you're looking for the splinter and you handle the splinter. And then their whole system's in a whole new beginning again. So it's like that. It's like when people come and they're not so clear about their necessity, then this is free access for you to do what's really true and important and real for them, or what's really going on for them. And a lot of this stuff will happen from their childhood. A lot of this is childhood shit because it takes 6, 8, 10 really serious big liquid states to handle this childhood shit, the mom and the dad and the kids at school and old decisions. And then after that, then you start getting some past life stuff. But really what's important is to go for the big things first, and don't even, can't really count on what they're reporting or what they're asking about. You really need to use your intuition, your own gremlin. You need to look at what really is going on and just go for it. And so don't be surprised if somebody says, God, my relationship sucks. I can't really, whatever. And it's like, you aren't even born yet. And you just look at them and you're not even here. How can you're not even present enough to have a relationship. So forget this relationship shit. Here's what you need to work on. And don't hesitate to do that. Okay? Something like that. Thank you. Somebody else. I love these old stories from Eric Berne and stuff, because I told you that, there's that story where in 2007, I went to this International Transactional Analysis Association meeting in San Francisco, where all the people all over the world were gathered from because I wanted to meet Valerie Langford, who was this creator of the 4 Feelings map. She was there. And I wanted to meet Dr. Stephen Carbon, the guy who invented the drama triangle. He was there. So I went there, to have this meeting and with them. And then I also offered to do some of our work there, that we were using what we were doing with 4 Feelings. And so they gave me a little workshop time, which happened to be at the same time that 200 people were meeting in the big hall to meet some important transactional analysis speakers. So I was a little side workshop. We had 12 people. And so there was this woman, I said, I'd like a volunteer. I just want to demonstrate how we do some feelings work. And so Janet Redmond from New Zealand happened to be there, and she said she's a longtime transactional analysis person. She goes, "I'd like to volunteer." I go, "Good. Well, let's see, which feeling would you like to work with? Mad, sad, glad, or scared?" She says, "Fear." I go, "Okay, lay down on the floor." So we have 12 people, and this Janet, she stellated fear. She went 100% intense archetypal fear in this little room. It was butted up against the big 200 people meeting at the same time, and she's just screaming her head off, And it was so amazing that I couldn't believe that she would go to 98% archetypal fear first. So I said, "Let's do this again." So we do it again. And it was fantastic. She stellated her fear right there in this little workshop. And then we go out on the break, and the guy who organized the entire International Transactional Analysis Conference came up to me, and I go, "Uh-oh, here." He goes, "Were you the people making the sounds in the next room? Were you the ones?" And I go, "Yeah, that was us." He goes, "I am so glad," he said, "because I have not heard feelings work in transactional analysis since Eric Berne died." So Eric Berne was doing feelings work with people in transactional analysis, and nobody else got it. Nobody else picked up on it and carried on. They're all doing transactions, parent talking to ego, analyzing, low drama, analyzing, all this mental stuff. Nobody was doing feelings work in transactional analysis. So it's great to have these stories about for example, Eric Berne, who founded, he created this whole place, but could not get the people to make the leap to use the feelings work. Because I went to this workshop from Valerie Langford, and I go, "God, I finally get to meet the woman who did Mad, Sad, Glad, and Scared." I go in the room, I'm thinking it's going to be, filled up. There was 4 of us. There were 4 people in her little workshop. And it was so shocking to me. It was really a shock. And so it's so important for you to carry on this work and share these stories and teach people how to navigate, because nobody else is doing it. That's the thing. And it works. And it's so, so valuable.
I just have a feedback regarding that. I had a possibility team yesterday, and a woman from the team, and she has never had an ETP and so on. But she had picked up on the 4 feelings and the differentiation of emotion and feelings. And she told me that she had gone into the fear of being alone for a long time, but now it happened that she went one level deeper, and it became so strong, the fear of being given to a crib when she was 2 years. And she said, it was like 2 or 3 minutes. I had this very intense feeling, and then it went away. Now I understand what is the difference between a feeling and an emotion. And I immediately after could sense that the whole pressure of this feeling lonely, that changed. It changed something in me. And I'm really amazed, because I never have given a lot of background and context about that. I just mentioned it in various citations, but she very well picked that up, and it's such powerful that she, even without having ETP or lab, she could work with that. I'm really glad about that.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope, one of the things that's been most shocking to me is that clients who benefit tremendously from being in a coaching session do not tell their friends about it. And I don't know why that is, but there's this almost like, it's so surprising, like you said, Joseph, and it's so effective, and the shift is so big, but there's not enough framework out there for people to understand. If you think back 40 years ago, maybe 50 years ago, when nobody had heard of yoga before, or think about when nobody had heard of veganism before, or even vegetarianism, or think back when people were started to go jogging or something. Like, these were radically weird behavior changes, very weird. And now This is decathlon. I mean, this piece is everywhere. I mean, if you don't go through the airport with a yoga mat, people think somebody's wrong with you. You know, you gotta, where's your yoga mat? You can't go on the airplane without your yoga mat, you know? So we're still in possibility management. We're still at this part of the curve where people don't recognize what we're doing yet. There's no brand recognition, or it hasn't not become commonplace yet for people to do emotional healing processes or go to an EHP dojo or go to possibility coaching. Like, what the hell? You're gonna feel something? Oh my God, you're gonna inner navigate and take radical responsibility for an emotion that's been locked into your muscles since you were a baby, and it's going to shift in 45 minutes, and you're going to have a whole new beginning in your life. It's like, what? This is still at the fringe. And so if you can, one thing that I've been doing is I try to empower my clients to speak to their friends about the process that they went through, to share about what they discovered about themselves and how the process went, and be glad about feeling scared, be glad about feeling angry, be glad about feeling sad. So big, you know, they'll go, God, I went to 17%, you know, sadness. I went to 22% anger, and to empower them to share that with their friends and their world, so that it starts to break through and become a whole new way of life, just like yoga or jogging or veganism or drinking juices in the morning, you know, things like that. So I just encourage you to really empower your people to speak about their experience with you in a normal way, like as a way of like, God, it was fantastic. I felt so great after yoga. I felt so great after going to 35% anger, like that. I'm doing 3-3-3 exercise, you know, and to have it be a whole new, just to build out the way to speak about it with their friends and their family and their partners and colleagues and things like that, so that it becomes more ordinary quicker. I mean, it will happen, but it should happen. It can happen more quickly if you also empower your people to not keep it a secret. You know, I have my secret little possibility coaching session, and my life is better, but I just don't tell anybody about it, you know. Because people don't want to be weird, you know. But if you can make it not weird in your session, then they can speak about it more as not weird, then more people can get access to this stuff. So thank you, Joseph. Yeah. Somebody else.
Yeah, I have a question, and it is coming from, I was working with a client and he was expressing his self-hate. And I was wondering if you could tell from your experience, like working with the person when they're expressing their self-hate, and it seems like nothing from the self-hate is transforming into conscious anger and to the outward, I'd say to a boundary or something.
Mm-hmm. This is a male person?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of reason for self-hatred. And I don't know how well you contextualize what's going on for that person, but how clear are they about their masculine nature or masculine side?
Clear enough.
Yeah. Well, good, because then you can talk about what it was like to be born in the patriarchy. Have you had that conversation with them yet?
I was more directing on like asking, well, what did it serve for? Like, what did you?
Yeah, that's too sophisticated.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's this huge gap for a human being to be born in the patriarchy. And since the patriarchy is so prevalent, it's most of us just skip that part. But I encourage you not to skip that part. I encourage you to have that conversation with your people. And so like a boy baby has to decide at birth to either join the patriarchy or die. and a number of baby boys choose death over joining the patriarchy, and they call it sudden infant death syndrome. And doctors cannot explain why some babies just decide to die. I mean, I remember also being in grade school. I was 5 or 6 years old, and there was a kid in my class when I was 5 years old, and I knew he could be a friend of mine because he was different. And so, but I also did not know how to be a friend with him. But it turned out he did not come back next year. And it turned out that he accidentally slipped off of a rock and fell into the canyon. And I know it wasn't an accident. I know he killed himself. And I know he killed himself because the culture could not accept him. There was no place in the patriarchy. He did not want to join the patriarchy. So instead of joining the patriarchy, he killed himself. And I just knew this in my bones. And so this is a huge choice that every single person needs to make, to be either you get to lie and be so adaptive and fake and put on this show to join the patriarchy, or you die. And so this man has decided to be fake, but there's a very good reason to hate himself for that. And so, and so a lot of times it's really most useful to, Marcus, what were you doing was you were doing this. You were doing, he said, I hate myself. And you go, well, what's the benefit of hating yourself? You know, probably there's no real benefit. You shouldn't hate yourself. And yeah, but I hate myself. No, you shouldn't hate yourself. Like, it's not healthy, whatever. So what I'm saying is go like this, move around. So I hate myself. This is excellent. Finally, you actually have speaking the truth. It is so important to hate. Okay, why are you hating yourself? Because it's true, not because it's wrong or bad or you shouldn't, but because yes, there's a part of you that knows that it was a lie when you joined the patriarchy. So what are you hating about yourself? And you just start listing, well, I hate myself for this. Great, I can see that. Keep going. What's the value of this? This is such a noble, what are you actually trying to accomplish by hating yourself? Mm-hmm. You get that? You go over to his side and go, what are you trying to accomplish by hating yourself? Let me help you accomplish that. Yeah. Let's accomplish this thing because it's valuable. You understand it isn't a mental, intellectual going against. You go with him. You go stand at his side and help him accomplish what he's trying to accomplish. And then what you'll find is you'll find a whole new element of this guy unfolding that's true and valuable and precious, that everybody else is trying to talk him out of hating himself, but it's actually valuable to hate himself because what he's hating is the patriarchy. Mm-hmm. Cool. Let's start working on what culture would you like to live in? What kind of culture would you love to live? Okay, what would it take for you to create that? Good. What is your life really about? If you're hating, you see what I'm saying?
Yes, totally. Yeah. To join forces in that and move out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. There's so much value in the underworld. Mm. This is one thing that makes possibility coaching so different from other coachings. Is other coachings are trying to achieve the upper world, enlightenment, clarity, positive thinking. There's all these other kinds of coaching. So what we're doing is, let's look at your underworld. Let's go in with you. So your job as a possibility coach is to accompany your clients into a journey into their underworld. And you accompany them without a judgment about it. It isn't bad, wrong, stupid. You're going with them into looking at what they're looking with, what they're not seeing. What you're going into the part of themselves that they're not clear about. What are they unconscious about? You are joining them on this journey as a space holder, and you're providing different perspectives or different distinctions or different ways for them to own a part of themselves they have been suppressing or repressing or blocking or hating or banishing And this includes gremlin, and it includes shadow principles, and it includes old decisions, and it includes all these things. But our job is to go with the client on this journey. And this is what makes possibility coaching so effective, is because we're being with the client where they are, rather than trying to be someplace we think they should be and have them join us. We go to where they are. There's this really incredible story. I got to be with Alexandro Jodorowsky, who's a creator of a thing called Psychomagic. He has a couple books out about it, but I was with him for a few days in a conference, a psychological, what's it called? Transpersonal psychology conference for a month long. He was there for a month. I got to be there for a few days with him and watch him work with this guy who was in complete shutdown. The guy was in complete catatonia just about, because his girlfriend suddenly left and abandoned him. And he just closed in on himself. And it was of course he had a predisposition to this tendency, and the trigger was his girlfriend leaving, but here, this is how he was. And so the way he started to work with this is, instead of trying to call the guy out from being in there, he brought his other students and they went in with this guy where he was. They went and they just gathered around and just like stood right all around him. They did this for a whole couple of days that I didn't see. They did this before. And they did this thing where, if they had the guy stripped down to his underwear, and if he would say a word, he wouldn't say anything, but if he said any word at all, somebody would write it on his body in lipstick. Mm-hmm. So it started to come out of him. The word was coming out of him. So if he said, scared, they would write scared all right across in big lipstick. And then he would say lonely or something. People would write lonely, and every time he would say a word, people would hear it, see it, write it, and it was like they were going to be with him where he was. And there was this amazing moment I got to see where they'd been doing this for a couple of days. He's completely covered with words written in lipstick all over him. And he comes out on the stage, like where everybody was. There's 150 people around, and we're all looking, and he's got this blanket around. And Alexandra Jodorowsky is just standing there in a suit and tie, not a tie, but a white shirt and a beautiful suit. And he's standing there just looking at the guy going, are you ready to be seen? Mm-hmm. Are you ready to be seen where you are? And the guy just slowly takes off this blanket. And then people start reading the words that are all over him. And he just starts crying. The guy starts crying, and he can talk again. Because people are reading the words that he said that are all over him. And it was so, and he just goes and he hugs Alexander Jodorowsky. He just hugs him like this. He couldn't help it. And what was so cool was, when he let go, there was lipstick all over Alexander Jodorowsky's shirt, completely covered with words from this guy. And everybody's laughing. Yeah. And it was a celebration of us getting to be with this guy where he was. And Alexander Jodorowsky did not give a shit about losing his shirt, or losing his whole suit from this guy just covering it with lipstick and everything. He didn't give a shit about it, because it was so important that this guy came out. And this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. We're going to be with the people where they are. And there's nobody else who can do it, because they don't know how to feel. They don't know how to be sad, or how to be glad, or how to be angry. They don't know they're so fucking scared. Every other form of coaching, people do not know how to feel. They are so locked away from themselves. So they can't be with the client. They can discuss things and talk about things, but you can't be with them where they are and go with them on this journey into their underworld, their unconscious world. And that's what you can do, because you know how to feel. And so this is this huge gift that you have to be with these people. And you don't have to be smart about it. We've got these 100 coaching videos online, and some of them are really miraculous. I don't know if you've been watching them, but some of these coachings are just absolutely miraculous. But you don't have to do that. These are just, all you need to do is mad, sad, glad, and scared, and be with the people. And is it a feeling or an emotion? And just hang out with them where they are there. And that will change it. That will evolve it. Because people have this stuff all locked in and suppressed and blocked away and cut off. And it's like, in your joining them where they are is enough to unlock that whole thing. And even if that's what they get in a session, is they get, God, I've just been so scared about saying anything because I said, you know, people judged me one time and I made this lockdown, and then you're just with me and you're not judging me and you're just being with my fear. And then they go, and it just melts. The thing just melts away. And then the next layer can come, and then the next layer, like that. So it's so important to just stay simple, you know, keep it simple, but join them where they are rather than trying to get them to be somewhere else. That's so different from possibility coaching with other kinds of coaching. Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah, thank you. I want to add that, like, a couple of days I had this breakthrough where I discovered that also in my coaching, or like in the work I was doing the last weeks and months, I had put my center into transformation. And it just came back 2 days ago to me that it's really more about, like, well, keeping my center and being. I can only be with them when I have my center where I am.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, to be a possibility coach, you have to pay full price. And the full price means your bullshit detector is pointed at yourself first. Your sword of clarity is pointed at yourself first. You know, the sword of clarity has these two edges, and it's hitting you first. And so you don't get to pretend. You don't get to look good. You don't get to have all the answers. You don't get to be right. You don't get to be perfect. The show doesn't work. Like, none of it works. So you pay full price to be a possibility coach. And who would want it any other way? I mean, that's where the authenticity is. But at the same time, we have not been initiated until we meet this kind of work. And so there's a show that we try to put on, and we try to act as if we have it together, or if we understand, or if we're a coach, you know, and we have a website and a profession. So I'm a coach, you know, so my life should work, my relationship should work, I should have, you know, everything should be fine. You know, that whole thing, we don't get that as a possibility coach. What you get is nothing. You know, what you get is zero. What you get is space. What you get is opportunity. You get nothing to stand on. What you get is to play. Basically, what you get to do is play in 3 worlds. And that scares the shit out of most people. Because you just look at people. I mean, I'm sure most people go through this stage where you're walking through the shopping mall and you just look at people and go, God, that kid shut down at 2 years old. You know, it's a 47-year-old man, you know, trying to go grocery shopping. You go, there's a 2-year-old boy there whose mother beat him when he was 2 years old, and he can't even decide what kind of lettuce to get for himself, you know. Or this lady's, she's all dressed up, you know, and she's trying to impress somebody, and it's like, you just go, God, that's 11 years old, man. She just shut down because, you know, her girlfriend went away or her sister died, or you just look at people and you can see all this stuff. And so, anybody have that? You guys are having this? Anyway, so the thing is, yeah, and so you see everything. You know, it's like, it's an open book to you. And it doesn't give you power. It does not give you advantage. And it gives you basically pain, because you walk through the shopping zone, and what you do is you feel and see and hear everybody's pain, because you're so clear about the underworld. And these people are blocking it, and they're talking so fast that they don't feel anything, and they're making stupid jokes, and this one's not saying anything because they hate themselves, and like all this stuff is going on. And so there's a way of the glory, like the glory of possibility coaching is that you get to help people. You know, you get to really serve, you get to make a difference in people's lives. And that's the glory that you get. You don't get to have right answers or a Mercedes-Benz or like all these something, be rich and famous and whatever. You get to help people really. You get to invent next culture one person at a time. You get to take people out of their lockdown, cramped up, fake personality show thing. You get to destroy that for them. You get to help people get out of prison. You get to help people in prison breaks. And then life outside the prison is fabulous. And how many people do you know are outside the prison? Well, not so many. You look around and go, well, this crew right here is going to be your best friends because they're the ones who are most out of prison out of anybody that you know. And you go back to your parents, you go back to your home neighborhood and you look around and you think, God, these are my high school friends and whatever, and they're all zombies. And you go, oh my God, they're zombies. I'm a zombie transformer. Anybody want to go through zombie transformation? And they all think you're just nuts. They all think, but somebody will go, yeah. And then they'll go, and it will work. But it's I don't know, it's not this tidal wave of people wanting to end being zombies. I mean, the latest Matrix movie from the what is it? Wachowski. Yeah, what's her name? Lana Wachowski. We got to see, if you've seen the fourth movie, they created these Matrix movies, which is for people to get out of prison. It's for people to wake up, for people to see, this whole zombieism stuff that's going on, and everybody's asleep, and then you can see the movies and wake up, and they did these 3 movies and they go, yeah, it's the revolution. Yeah, it's happening. And 10 years after, nothing's changed. There's just more zombies than ever. So they make this 4th movie, which is about saying, it did not work. The revolution against the zombies did not work. They're still sleeping. They still want to sleep. You give them the option, and they would choose fake steak rather than real slime for breakfast. The people would rather stay asleep. Okay, well, the world is like that. And so you guys have this ability to like bring a zombie back to life. And it's just, they would have to do the work. You cannot do it for them. And so they would need to come to you and go through this process, and people will do it more and more. The thing is, how fun can you make it sound? How fun can you make it? If you make it serious, if you make this kind of like this overwhelming underworld work, you have to look at your shadow principles and you have to own your gremlin. Sit, you sit here and you just fucking sit here. I'm gonna put you on a diet. If you do this, people are gonna it doesn't sound very fun. So there's a way that part of your job is to actually, when you join the person where they are in their underworld journey, is to make light of it. Is actually go, God, this is so cool that you figured out this horribly twisted, self-deprecating, self-suppressing, imprisoning, like self-strangling, non-lively way to survive. That's amazing you did that. Good. Would you like to try anything else? Would you like to try something different? It isn't like you have bad habits, you have to change your habits of behavior, So there's a way for you to have the adventure spirit and the quest. You're on this quest together with your clients to go through this archetypal underworld journey stuff and really, really make it fun and really make it adventurous, because it really is. It's really archetypal. The stuff you're able to offer people is at the archetypal level. So, but it's up to you to rest in that, and there's times where I don't know what kind of practices you give your people, but, to have them, for example, walk through the town carrying a sword, wooden Boken sword at their waist, or to get one of these dark, flat Zorro cowboy hats and put a Zorro mask on and walk through town, and actually, to find ways for them to shift identity out of their survival strategy and have other options to choose from these are also practices that you can give your clients that are legend making, that create this dimension of exploration, fun, adventure, transformation, playing full out as part of their healing and evolution work, and not make it so just serious and overbearing, heavy duty, even though it is huge and serious and overbearing. But you can relate to it in a way, it gives them a way to relate to it in a different way.
Yeah.
Christina, go ahead.
I just said,
You were going to say something.
No, I just said yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. We have time for a couple more questions here.
One thing I noticed, I had some previous experiences with kind of hypnotherapy or hypno-coaching. And what we do in a healing process is actually we're inducing a kind of a trance. And I'd like to get some more from you about what we have to take care of, actually, because inducing a trance is something also bringing people into a sensible state. And what is your perspective on that?
The context of possibility coaching is radical responsibility. And it's also awareness or alertness, like paying attention to your attention. It's noticing. So there's a lot about how to take responsibility for what you were not taking responsibility for before. And so there are many, many other contexts out there. So the trance work, that kind of thing has an entirely different context. For the trance work to work, you need to have the hypnotist, who then has more power in the game, because they're the one hypnotizing you, and you have to trust them. You have to submit yourself to the way they navigate the space, or what they ask you to, they're navigating inside of you. So when they're navigating inside of you, it's no longer radical responsibility. You're not doing it yourself. So the traditional, the indigenous shamanism has to do with the great shaman comes to town, lays you on the bench, does the work on you, you pay them and they go away. And you're dependent on the great shaman to come and do the thing for you. So this is just like the hypnotherapist or the trance state thing. I mean, we're also working with this in the mage training, where we have a group of people just came together for season 2 of mage training. And there's people who want to share mage stuff from other sources. And so then what you have is people offering books or processes or practices or even tinctures or elixirs from other contexts, which are esoteric, or they're shamanistic, or they're indigenous, or they're the Merlinian magical lineage from the Merlin's magical lineage tradition. And then there's the druidic traditions of magic, and then all of these, so these are all different contexts. And so as soon as there's nothing wrong or bad or whatever about other contexts, it's just that they are different contexts. And if you try to mix contexts together, that's what you get, is a mixed context game world. And so the thing is, the possibility coaching is a new game world. It's really new. And it is so excellent and fantastic. Sometimes I want to just jump out of my bed in the middle of the night and run through the street going, like possibility. Somebody just rang the door.
Yeah.
So what the thing is, we haven't even discovered what possibility management coaching really is. We're just discovering it now. And it is so excellent and it is so fabulous that there's no need to look elsewhere. Now, but we have these minds, we have this, well, what about that? Or, what about hypnosis? What about yantras? Or what about meditation? Or what about dance, or contact improvisation, all these things, that people want to, what about play fight? What about all this stuff that people want to mix together? It's like, you have to find your own way through all this mess. And, my way is pretty simple, because I just go, fuck all the rest. Really, I just go, fuck all the rest. And I wait around. God, I've waited years. I have waited decades. I have looked for decades for people to give me the answers of stuff that works better than possibility management. I have found nothing. And it pisses me off. I think Aristotle should have figured this stuff out, 2,000 years ago. Plato or those dudes. I think they should have figured it out and given it to us, and they haven't. So I spend about 0.1% or 0.1 seconds or whatever I'm open, I'm open. I'm looking for other people to show stuff that works better than this. I just haven't seen it. And so I just don't get distracted these days. But there's nothing, I'm not saying anything against Joseph, what you're talking about in terms of the trance thing. It's just a different context, has a different functionality, has a different effectiveness. And my brother used to do, hypnosis stuff. And, he figured out how to grow his hair back using hypnosis. And he could do that, but his life sucked, but he had more hair. But anyway, so, there's amazing stuff going on out there, but it's like, you have to figure out what you really want. And I'm really more interested in people getting to live full out and deliver their non-material value as their archetypal lineage in action, and really provide, help create next culture and make spaces where people thrive in collaboration, and that's all that is possible. Somebody else was going to say something. Maybe Sabina. Sabina, you look like you're on a television show. Your backdrop is really professional. It's like
I work on my technique. Yes. Yeah, I don't have questions. And I thought, oh, I'm wrong. I don't have a question, but I had really nice and deep experiences in the last time with the group and in our 4th cell with processes. And sometimes I think the more I learn, the more I'm aware of what I don't know. But on the other hand,
Sabina, what are you sad about?
sad?
You seem sad right now.
Okay.
What is it about?
Maybe I'm sad about my fear to say something, because I'm really glad to be here, and I had so much to say, but I cannot say it.
Just try for a little while, okay? Just start talking. You're such a wonderful person. You got a wonderful team here. You're so connected. We're listening. Can you just talk for a while?
Okay.
It's okay if snot comes out your nose and tears down your face. That's okay, all right? We just want to hear you.
So it so much from this what you said it's for me, it's truth. And I had the vision to be a coach, but I didn't found a good Ausbildung or good
Training,
way
yeah.
to learn. And then I found I got in connection with possibility management, and that was the perfect one. That was what I was looking for. And yes, and I tried to translate or to give a picture from this to other people so that they can see which gold is in it. And now I can watch the recording that will help me to do this. Yeah.
We're going to do a little experiment. How many of you guys actually love Sabina? You just put your hand up. Sabina, will you just try to let this in? Try to not bite your lips. You get to live in a world where this many people can just stand here and say, we love you. So all your doubts about that, about making mistakes or something, this doesn't work here. Sabina, you're doing something right now in your mind. What are you doing? What are you thinking?
I was thinking on my process yesterday. I was in my shadow world, and I found out that I decided to kill myself, to kill my everything except my guys, my mental. Yes. And then I came back to my village and recognized that I pushed my sword, mein Schwert, in mich selbst. Um nicht zu fühlen, um nicht wirken zu können, um nicht meine Macht zu haben.
To not have your power. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you pull the sword out yet?
Yes.
Can you show us how it went when you pulled it out?
How it was?
Yeah, show us how you pulled it out. Just show us.
Ich soll zeigen, wie ich es rausgeholt habe?
Yeah, exactly. With your hand right now.
Yes, I did it like this.
No. One hand. How did you do? You stuck it in like this, you said. You showed us that you stuck it in like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have to take it out the same way, slowly.
Now?
Yes.
Okay. shit.
What?
I thought there's a towel. I think that would be loud.
No, no towel. Just use your hand. Yeah, that. I don't think you pulled it out yet, Sabine. Yeah, slowly, slowly, slowly. Yes, yes, yes. Loud, let the sound out. Let the sound out. Yes. Yes. And then slowly open your eyes and just stay with your feelings. Open your eyes. And will you reach in and pull one of those little golden pearls from your bag of things and put it here to fill up the space where the sword was filling up? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And slowly open your eyes. Do you know why all these people have their hands up?
No.
Try to remember.
Still love me.
Yes. Genau. Das. And we want to hear what you have to say.
I didn't have questions because I do the work with my four bodies and I get the impulses with all the bodies, not only with the mental body. And then it is like a journey with a client. And sometimes I have a question, but sometimes I only reflect what I see, what I feel, what I have an energetic impression, and then I give it back. And all the important questions and the answers and the way is in the other one. It's not me. I don't have the answers. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to put our hands down, but it doesn't mean we're stopping loving you.
Thank you.
Sabina, you mentioned 4 bodies and not 5. Was that on purpose?
No. I guess if I am in this state, then I'm connected with my archetypal body or lineage.
Yeah. I wanted to bring that up just for everybody to acknowledge or to start to notice more the archetypal nature, this part of the possibility coaching. Because if life was just the four bodies, you know, the physical body, the mind, the emotions, and even just space, you know, the energetic body is about space and who's in my space, or do I own this, or do they own this, or what's the timing? These are all energetic body things. If that was it, there'd be kind of no point, because it's really the archetypal domains that we have direct access to, that you can sit facing your client as a representative of somebody who has access to the archetypal domains. This is so precious for them. Even if you hardly say anything in a coaching session, and hold open the space for the archetypal domains for them and you, and the space for them, that is so precious, because there's no place else in the world, hardly any place else, except for certain temples and different tombs of saints, or certain artifact places where that's available. It's just not available in modern culture. And so I would encourage you, that would be kind of a theme for a future time, Christina, is to really investigate how to provide archetypal levels of possibility coaching for people. But if you guys would start, if you would just have that as a question in your mind, or have it as a question in the space where you are, or even ask your client, you know, what's your relationship to your archetypal domains? Just ask them that question. And who knows what their blocks are, or who knows what their wounds are, in terms of what's cutting them off from some of the most ecstatic and rewarding quality of life in terms of the archetypal domains. That would be an incredible addition. You know, when somebody's doing some of those 11 floor processes with you, or 13 floor processes, when they do Entfaltungsprozess, or any of the diaphragm process, or any of these kind of processes, when you hold access to the archetypal in that work, they get a whole new healing, and a different level of healing in themselves. So that's we maybe haven't talked about that enough in terms of possibility coaching, but it's a huge benefit that people can get from being with you in the possibility coaching space, that you have access to the archetypal domains and can hold that open for them. We have a couple more minutes, like 10 or 12 more minutes. Somebody have anything else? Annie or Martin or anybody else? Devin?
I somehow I want to bring that actually what's happening by you right now. Like, this is for me right now a reference point where you are holding actually this archetypal space. It's like I'm mapping, or my metrics is like, it's getting the point. Where is it? Thank you.
You're welcome. This is just a side thing. Sabina, I want to make sure after you took the sword out, you did not put it down or put it away, that you still have it. You still have your sword. That, you know, after you take it out, you don't just throw it away somewhere. Because in possibility management, the foundation is that every option is an option. Every option is always an option. This is why it's so fabulous. But what that means is Sabina could just stick the sword back in. That's an option. But if she takes it out and throws it away, then she's removing an option. But that's not how it works. So you can't protect yourself from options by trying to throw them away. They're always an option. Everywhere you are, it's an option. And this means horrible things as well as amazingly wonderful things. So I mean, it's incredible to walk down the street as a possibility coach, knowing every option is an option. You could just give all your money to some guy sitting on the street, or you could kill the guy on the street, or you could sit down and write a book next to the guy on the street and let's write a book together. Or you could just spit on the guy on the street, or you could stand and say, could you teach me to dance? I've never had a dancing lesson and you're just sitting here on the street. Maybe if I gave you 20 euros, would you teach me a dancing lesson? Every option is an option. And so I just wanted Sabina to be clear that it wasn't about throwing your sword away. That's your sword, you need your sword. And what you do with it is up to you. And is that clear, Sabina?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you have a name for your sword? Like
Name.
Galindrol? Yeah. Like everybody knows what Merlin's sword name, Excalibur. Everybody knows the name from its different swords. Your sword can have a name.
Mm.
Sabina, what is the name of your sword?
Mm. I will take the question with me and take time with me to find out.
Okay. Let us know then, all right?
Yes.
I hope that everybody will do that. Find out the name of your sword and have that kind of respect for it. Okay. Anything from your department over there?
Yeah, well, I go Annie.
I have an impulse to make a request to I would like a healing process from you, Clinton, and invite the others to watch. And I don't know how that would work and how much you charge. But my question is, I've done hell lot of healing processes this in 2021. And I have that sadness about I didn't get the friendship with my mother that I thought that I could make.
Are you living at her house?
No longer. There's no more benefit for me to be there. I've stayed quite a long time, and there's benefit to me because she's reminding and pointing out all the places that need healing. And I thought that, I don't know, one of the possibilities that I thought might come of it would be that there would be a softening and a friendship. And there's been a shift. And now I feel spinning. And you had described that it's a very good time to go into another level of process when I'm in the unknown.
So, I mean, your name on the thing is Annie. Should I call you Anne Elizabeth or Annie?
Call me Anne Elizabeth.
Okay, well then change your name on the window.
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
So the thing is, you said that you are spinning and there's things you don't know. but there's in fact a thing you just told us that you do know. And I'm asking you to stand in what you do know. And what you do know is that you were wrong about your fantasy world, about having a lovey-dovey friendship with your mother. So if you
Yes.
say that, I know that I was wrong about that.
I know that I was wrong about my fantasy world, about having a lovey-dovey relationship with my mother.
Yeah. And that is hard earned. You worked hard to get that clarity. And you can stand
And I
on
know
it.
that she won't love me ever in the way that
Well, right.
I wanted.
Exactly. And that is hard earned. You had to work hard to get that. So stand on it. You know, I'm telling you, I lived the first 42 years of my life in fantasy worlds. And it was a hell destruction. It was a completely unforgiving kind of force that I had to face into that ate my fantasy worlds. And afterwards, I could say, I was wrong about that. But I could stand on saying I'm wrong about it. I knew it was true. You have something really solid to stand on there.
Yes, I'm solidly standing on the work. It was a hell of work from last year. And
Yeah.
I have a vista of nothing, and I'm interviewing places, I'm interviewing cities. And I want to be part of a bridge house. And I have no idea how that will work, or who can come, or if people have a bridge house and invite me. Yeah, that's my preference, because it seems like I'm physically tired. So I'm gaining my physical strength back and my energetic strength. All of my 5 bodies are just feel flat and weakened.
It's just get it that
Yeah.
that's how it is. Don't try to make it better. You know, the path, we're on this path together. It's an incredible path. And it takes energy to run the path, to walk the path. And so being exhausted, being tired, being sore, being sick, being like not knowing if you're going to make it is part of the path. If that was not part of the path, it would not be the path. So don't try to make it that, oh gosh, I'm tired, so therefore something's wrong. This is, oh gosh, I'm tired. That means I'm on the path.
Well, then fuck yeah, I'm on the path.
Okay then. So let also
my whole body says, well, if that's the sign of the path, then shit, yeah. I'm on the fucking path.
There you go. And let echo do its work. You will not figure it out with your mind where you're supposed to go next. All right. Just do the path. You know, I've lived in cars myself. So for a year almost, I lived in a car. So it's like, do the path. It's incredible. Yeah. All right. We have come to our time here. I'm going to hand the space back to Christina. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
it was epic.
Was epic, yes. And it's recorded, and I will place it online, and I will send you the link so you can see it again and again and again if you want.
Yay!
And I have an announcement for our Friday EHP dojo. I will I asked for a healing process on Chloe, and she proposed exactly the time we have the dojo. So I invited her to the dojo. She holds space for me, and if you like, you can join our breakout space. So if you are not busy doing your own stuff in another breakout room, you are welcome to hold space for my process. Yeah.
Great.
Just a little bonus. And no, I'm gonna say this next week. The logistics for end of January. I have some announcements to make. Thank you so much for being here, and see you Friday in the EHP Dojo. Clinton, thank you for being with us, and
You're welcome.
enjoy your afternoon or day.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.
You can-
Bye.
Doing great. See you.